All right.
Do you like a tea with the coffee?
No, I appreciate that. Maybe a slice of turkey, maybe.
No, that's living bit after 4 o'clock. I think we're having turkey.
הבנת? גם צריך את הזמן שלו. זה 4.
כן.
זה לא סתם יעני ביום הזה, יש את הזמן שלו. אם היינו עושים ככה מצוות לפי הזמן, איפה היינו היום?
אוקיי, רבותיי, גמרא בבא קמא דף כ"א. Masechet has been dedicated להצלחה בחיילי צבא, פדיון שבויים ורפואת החולים, אמן. Masechet dedicated for הצלחה במזל, בגילה, שתי לבלד, בשעה טובה מוצלחת, אמן. Who's that? That's our guys or the rabbi's mess? Okay, so cool. Scott the artist, I'm right. Okay. Okay, so we start the Gemara Rabotai on Chaf Amud Bet, and where we left off on yesterday, and that's going to be Itmar. It's a little way up. It's going to be. Let's get it over here. 11 lines up. Okay, let's start. Itmar, Rat Kahana Amar, Rabbi Yochanan, Eno Tzarich La'alot Lo Sachar. Bi'abahu Amar, Rabbi Yochanan, Tzarich La'alot Lo Sachar. So what are we talking about over here? So about the case of Zen Henev V'Zelo Haser, the squatter. So the squatter goes into the house, and this guy doesn't usually pay rent. So he's not in the Heneh, it's not like he's saving any money. And the owner doesn't charge rent, so he's lo haser. So we had a machloket yesterday, different opinions. Does he have to pay the the owner or not? So we have a machloket now, it seems. Rav Kana says the name of Yohanan, the squatter lives for free. And Rabbi Abau says the name of Yohanan, so now we have two rabbis that are quoting Rabbi Yohanan and saying opposite conclusions. So we have to figure out how that happened. So the Gemara says, Amar Papa, did Rabbi Abahu. That what Rabbi Abahu said in the name of Rabbi Yohanan, that he has to pay, the squatter has to pay, La befirush itmar. He didn't hear it from him explicitly, Ela michlala itmar. He got it from a deduction, from something else that he said, and from there he deduced it. What happened? It not. We have a Mishnah in Masechet Megillah. We're talking about over the Gizbar. Who's the Gizbar? The Gizbar is the administrator over Hekdesh. Natal Eben or Korah Shel Hekdesh. So let's say the Gizbar, he took a stone, or he took a beam that belonged to Hekdesh. Lo ma'al. That's not considered Me'ilah, because the Gizbar has rights to use to take the item. He's the administrator, so he can do. He can lift them up. He has rights. However, if he picked it up untana lahavero, or if he gave it to his friend, so now he's motzi from the reshut of hekdesh huma'al. So now he committed the sin of me'ilah. By giving it to somebody else, you took it out of hekdesh and now it turned it into chulin. Lahavero lo ma'al. The friend that took it, was not ma'al, even though he benefited it after. But by the time he got it, it was cholin already. So therefore, there's no problem on that got it. Then, let's say the Gizbar took this beam and he built it. Where did he build it? L'tok beto. In his skylight, he entered the beam. Areze lo ma'al. If he just put it on his roof, that's not considered me'ilah, because he didn't do anything. He just put it on his roof. He's storing it over there. He didn't benefit from it yet. So they were putting it on the roof, stam, lo ma'al, ad shiyadur tahtea shaveh peruta, until he benefits. How would he benefit? By living in the house. Living in the house, the shi'ur of shaveh peruta. So then already you're benefiting from hekdesh, or used it. Now the Gemara says, ve'amar shemuel, where we told him, shenicha al pi ha'arubah. We're talking about over here where you placed it on the skyline. V'yativ Rabbi Abba kamed Rabbi Yohanan, and the Rabbi Abba sat in front of Yohanan v'kamar m'shebed Shmuel, and he said in front of Shmuel the following deen. Zot omeret, you know what we learned from this Mishnah? Hadar b'chatzar havero shelo middato sarich la'alot lo schar. That if you're living in your friend's house without him knowing it, you got to pay. Where they learn this from? From Hekdesh. Hekdesh doesn't know. This beam doesn't know. This beam over here is a beam. Beam has da'at? No. So therefore, you're using the beam shelo mida'at, and it says what? The guy has to pay Hekdesh. So therefore, if you use somebody's item, shelo mida'ato, that's the analogy. It looks like I'm using the beam, shelo mida'at, I got to pay if I benefited. So therefore, if I use somebody's house without him knowing, I got to pay. Anyway, when he told that to Rabbi Yohanan, shatakle, he kept quiet. He was sabar medeshatik modele. So Rabbi Abba thought the fact that he kept quiet must be he agrees. Velahi, ashkuhela ashgahbe. He didn't pay attention to him. What do I have to answer? I don't agree. Sometimes when you don't answer, it means you agree. Shitikat yehodah. Sometimes when you don't answer, it means you're not even regarding it at all. What do I have to answer? I don't agree with you. So therefore, he didn't listen to him because he didn't believe that it's a Mishnah. Kedarabah, Rabba, Hekdesh Shalom mida'at kehediot mida'at dameh. Big hadush. You can never say Hekdesh is not mida'at. Why? Even though the item itself doesn't have da'at that you're using. One case of using a guy's house, shalom mida'at. But Hekdesh, you can never say shalom mida'at because Hashem, exactly, Hashem knows. So therefore, it's always mida'ato shel Hashem. So therefore, it's not similar to a case of mishtamesh b'bayit shel havero shalom mida'ato. Could you say, when it comes to Hekdesh, it's shalom mida'at? Hashem doesn't know? Hashem knows exactly what you're doing. So therefore, it's not analogous to the case. Rabbi Abba, Barzavda, Mori Bar Mot, Aminem Rabuna. Till we continue again, same story. Adar Bachatzar Habero, Shalom Middato, Sarich La'alot No Sakar Ono. He asked him a question: do you have to pay or not when you're living in your friend's house without him knowing, a squatter? Adaki, in the interim, they asked this question to Rabbi Huna, but he passed away. Before they were able to get an answer. I'll tell you what my father said. The name of Rab, okay, you don't have to pay. But then he said the following: you had the case? A guy rented a house from Reuven. Reuven wasn't the owner. Who was the real owner? Shimon. What was Reuven doing? The scammer. He came along, he's renting somebody else's house. And he wants to collect rent. So the Torah says, no, you got to pay Shimon. Now hold it. Why would you have to pay Shimon? That's Hadar B'chatzar Havero Shalom Middato. Because Shimon doesn't know. And we just said that in the name of Rab, Hadar B'chatzero Shalom Havero Shalom Middato Eno Ma'alelo Sachar. So it sounds like these are two halachot that are contradictory. So the Gemara says, first of all, Shimon my abiteh. What do you mean you have to pay money to Shimon? You rented it from Reuven. Haki ka'amar. Nimsa habayit shel Shimon. If you found that the house really belongs to Shimon, ma'aleh lo sachar. So the Gemara says, ta'arte. These two halachot seemingly contradict each other. The Gemara says, no. Hade kaima le'agra. Hade lo kaima le'agra. Remember we learned yesterday's daf? It depends if the owner charges rent or not. In this case, Shimon charges rent. So therefore, usually does. So that's considered zen nehene b'zeh haser. So therefore, that's why you have to pay Shimon the rent. But the other case is talking about where the owner doesn't charge rent. Doesn't charge rent, so you don't have to pay. Itma nameh, Amar Rabbi Chiya bar Avin, Amar Rab, Amrila Amar Rabbi Chiya bar Avin, Amar Rabuna Hadar, B'chasar Habero, Shelo Middato Eno Sarich La'alot Lo Sachar. Same, the squatter does not have to pay. If you rent a house from the people of the city, so you give money to the Ba'alim. Who's the Ba'alim? The Gemara says, Ba'alim, my abatayu. Haki kamar. V'nimseudo Ba'alim. Ma'alem nam sachar, which means originally when they rented it, they didn't know who the owner was. So therefore, that would be considered what? Shalom Medah. And what happens when you find out who the owner is? You got to pay. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? I just thought you said that if you live in somebody's house without him knowing, you don't got to pay. So the Gemara says, Ta'arte, contradiction, two different halagot. No, same answer. Same story. If the owner normally charges rent, then it's zen nehene beze ken haser. That's why you have to pay him. But if he doesn't charge rent, zen nehene beze lo haser, eno ma'ale lo sachar. Amar Rab Sechora, Amar Rabuna Amar Rab, Hadar ba'asar habero. Look at this over and over again about time. Hadar ba'asar habero, shalom edato. En tzaddik la'alot lo sachar. Now look at this story over here. You know why you don't have to pay him? Mishum shene'emar ushiya yukat sha'a. Okay, but don't get scared. But there's a certain shed that's called she'iyah. Now she'iyah destroys desolate homes. So therefore, you know what? The squatter is doing the balabayit a favor. I'm saving you from she'iyah. What do you mean? If I wasn't there, the shed would come in and come and destroy the house. So therefore, you owe me. B'diuk. Amar Mora Bashe Lididi Hazili. He says, I saw the shed with an empty house. Umenagah ki Torah. Wow, and he gores like an ox. Destruction. He goes and destroys. We have a lot of this shit even in Brooklyn, by the way. Anyway, the Gemara comes along and says, only problem is they come even when people are in the house. That's the problem. The ones in Brooklyn. The ones over in the Gemara, they only showed up when there was an empty house. For us, they come even when there's people in the house. But that's for another discussion. Rabbi Yosef Amar Betam Yateva Yativ. Another reason why the squatter doesn't have to pay. Because what happens when there's somebody living in a house, he maintains the house. A light bulb goes out, there's a leak. What happens if a guy's not in the house and the pipe breaks? There goes his house. So when you have a squatter in the house, he's able to, what should we say? Maintain the house. So that's another reason why. So there's two reasons. Either because he takes care of the shed, the shed won't come, or because maintenance. He fixes things. My benayu, what would be the practical difference between the two? Ika benayu de kamishtamesh bitzi ve'tivna. Let's say the Balabayit is using the house as storage for, let's say, wood and for straw, and the squatter comes to live in the storage house over there. In such a case, there's not going to be shi'iyah. Why? Because they use the house. It's not desolate. The house is being used. So therefore, there's no problem of shi'iyah in a storage house because there's something in the house. It's not desolate. So therefore, you don't have to be worried about shi'iyah. But according to the second reason of maintenance, that's still there. And therefore, that reason would still apply.
Soon the squatter need to get paid from the owner.
Right, which means the owner has to pay him.
Again,
Right. Okay. Ahu Gabra. Now we're going to learn about a Gabra. What's a Gabra? Okay, a Gabra is a man. Today you have to ask him how he identifies, but in the olden days, no Gabra. So Gabra says, Debana afadna akalkalta diyatme. So he went and he built a palace on the dump of Yetomim. Yetomim had like a piece of real estate, but cheap real estate, ashpa. This guy came along and developed it. Had money. Okay. מה הוא עשה? הוא בנה ארמון על האשפה של היתומים. הגבר רב נחמן לאפדנה מיניה. Reb Nachman went and took it from him. You have to give the Yatomim something. Now the Yatomim weren't using the property, but they didn't have money to pay for the Armon. So now the question is, they got to compensate the Yatomim. Lema kasava Reb Nachman hadar b'chatzar chavero shlo medato tzarich la'alot lo sachar. You want to say that this is a case of a squatter, meaning the rich guy that built the house on somebody else's property, and then the rabbi took the property away, so you got to pay them. It sounds like what? Hadar b'chatzar chavero shelo medato tzarich la'alot lo sachar. And this is a case of zeh nehene v'zola chaser, because it sounds like the Yatomim weren't doing anything with the property. So therefore, are you telling me that Reb Nachman holds that the squatter has to pay? He must say no. there was people, the Karmenaim were living there, the Indians. They were living in this place over here first, and the Indians were paying, I'm saying Indians because of the holiday. But the point is, it's Karmenaim. These guys from Karmenai, I don't know where they come from. No. Huh? No, Karmenai is in Souks in Adam. They used to live on the field. כן. ויהווה להוא ליתמה דבר מועט. And they paid a little rent, a little small ליתומים, they got something. So therefore, it's not considered זה נהנה וזה לא חסר. עכשיו זה חסר. They were getting something from the Karmenaim. So the rabbi told us, pay them something, give them something. ולא אשכח. There's this rich guy over here. לא אשכח. He wants to take the Yatumim's land, build a palace on it, and he doesn't want to give them any compensation. So what did Rav Nachman do? He took it. The old days, the rabbis had power.
Coercive community.
So he repossessed the property from the rich guy until he decides to pay. Today, that was when a rabbi was a rabbi. He had power to enforce the law. Okay, let me go back to the Mishnah. Remember we learned on yesterday's daf, we had a Mishnah. What did the Mishnah say? We learned that you pay mashenehenit. What was that talking about, mashenehenit? So go back to the Mishnah. Where was it on your tip? On your tip, actually, Amud Beth. Remember we said the shen sometimes pays mashenehenit and sometimes it pays mashehizika. So we said if it damages in the shutanizak, you pay mashehizika, meaning the full price. If it damages in the shutanabi, mashenehenit, exactly. And on yesterday's daf, we explained what does it mean, mashenehenit. We explained exactly, do you pay teben or do you pay seurim at a cheaper price? We had the different ways of calculating this. Now we go to the Gemara. Amara. Oh, the Mechila. Let's continue. And then what we say in the Mishnah, it depends. If the animal eats from the middle of the street, which is the Shut Rabin, Mashenehenit. But if it eats from the side of the street, it eats from the side road, Mashezika. Now, what do you mean from the side of the road? The side of the road is not the Shut Rizak. It's also the Shut Rabin. The Shut Rabin is the middle of the road or the side of the road. So why on the side of the road does the Mishnah say you pay the Mashezika? Amarav uvemachazeret. We're talking about where the animal sticks its neck to the side to eat. And therefore, that's why it's hayab. Why? Because it's not the derech. That means it's normally the derech what? So go straight in the street. And therefore, in the Shut Rabin, patur. Masechet over here, now the guy put his fruit on the side, and this animal went and stuck his head. That's already hayab to pay. Because the animal did something that was not normal. He went into somebody else's area. And therefore, he has to pay.
Going straight, you wouldn't have to pay for the back.
Correct.
Meal,
He would only have to pay mashezika. Only with I'm sorry, mashenehenit. Only when it benefited, a lesser price. Because in the Shut Rabin, like we said, but in the Shut Nizak, and we're calling this side street now, it's considered like the Shut Nizak because the animal shouldn't go in it, which means we're not calling it keren. No, Rabotai. Don't call it keren. Keren means it was meshaneh. And then you'd only pay hatzin as it. But we're saying it pays mashezika. Pshat is because once it turns to the side street, we look at that side area like the Shut Anizak. And therefore, and what does the Gemara mean when it says it's not the derech for the animal to stick its head there? Since it's not the derech for the animal to stick its head there, that's why the owner put his fruit there. So that's why you can consider this area the Shut Anizak. Because it's not normal for the animal to stick his head. So therefore, it's hayab. Okay, so that's the opinion of Rab. Shmuel Amar, afilu mahazeret nameh patur. He said no, because why? It's the derech for the animal to stick its head all over the place. And therefore, the owner shouldn't have put his fruits there. Yeah, it's the Shut Rabin, exactly. And therefore, they're not paying mashezika. Shmuel, but the Mishnah said you hayav. So what's the case? Mahazeret, you're saying no. What's the case going to be hayav? כגון דשבקתה לרחבה, אז Bava Kamma בצידי רחבה, where the animal actually went all the way to the side street. If he just stuck his head over, that's considered normal, because he's still standing in the Reshut Rabbi. But if he totally goes to the side street and eats, that's considered already abnormal. Yeah, no, he left the Reshut Rabbi. He went to the side street. If he's in the Reshut Rabbi proper, the middle of the road, and he sticks his head, that's normal. And therefore the Balabai shouldn't have put his fruit over there. Because that already is a normal thing for animals to stick their head over. But for the animal to totally go into the Rehaba and stood and ate perot over there, that's not the derech for the Behemah to do that. And that's considered Shem B'Chasar Hanizah. Therefore, if the whole animal is standing on the side street, that's considered Chatzir Hanizah. Now we go the other way. Some have the same ruling, but not in the Mishnah. Just stop. If the animal sticks its head from the Reshut Rabbi to the side street, Rabbi Hayevet. Rab says Hayev because it's not the way. Shmuel Amar Petula because it's considered Reshut Rabbi. Then Shmuel Mishlamit Machzik Aichi Mashkav Damediyat. What's the case? What they're going to say? Machzikas Hayab Kegon Deshavkal Rabab Bava Kamma B'Sidei Rabab. We totally went into the Rabab. Mativ Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak has a question. So we said what? Remember we said yesterday these guys used to have stores. And they used to take the door or the tris,
gate,
right, the gate, put it down, and then put the merchandise on the gate in the shuk, and in front of the store. So it says, if it ate mipetach hachanut, that's masheneni, because that's the shuk Rabbi. So the Gemara says, hechi mashkachata, pshita b'machzeret. Must be he was walking down the street, and he turned his head to eat from the store, and it's saying what masheneni. V'kamar mashenit in mashezika. No, and that's a question according to Rav. Because didn't Rav just say if it turned its head hayav? Rav said b'machazeret you have to pay mashezika. But this is mashma. The guys, animals walking down the street. The Shulchan Rabbi. You have the petah of the store here. Obviously it's machazeret, and it's saying you only pay mashenit. Why? According to Rav, if it turns its head. So we have a setira, odd palm. When you have an animal walking Reshut Rabbi, and it's mahazeret, mishalem mashezika, zirikra Reshut Hanizak. Because why? It's not the derech for the animal to turn its head. And what's the case of the store? He's walking down the street, and the store, the shopkeeper has his item over here. He turned his head. What does the Mishnah say? Mashenit. No, but you just said mashezika. The Gemara says, "Hu motivla v'hu mefarekla dekaima bekeren zavi." You know what the gauge is talking about? There's the picture, Rabotai. You see the animals walking in the middle of the Reshut Rabbi, and on the corner, the petach of the hanut sticks out, so he doesn't have to turn his head. He walks straight into it. You see, it's not that he has to turn his head. See the. So therefore, since when he's walking, he doesn't have to turn because it's at the corner. So therefore, it's like considered mahazeret. Zema Reshut Rabbi. And what's the name of Reshut Rabbi? Reshut Rabbi, masheneh. That's why it pays over there. Beautiful. Okay. Ikadamre. And we have a different version. Mahazeret. When the animal sticks his head to the side, kula alma lo penigi de hayevet. Everybody's going to say that's considered Reshut Hanizak. Peligi b'makseh makom b'reshuto d'reshut Rabbi. What did the guy do over here? Makseh makom. The guy has his fence to the property line. You know what he said? I mean, a nice guy. I'm going to give some of my property to the Reshut Rabbi. So he moved his fence back. Now, even though that property in front of the fence is his, but he made it and gave it to the Reshut Rabbi. What did he give it to the Reshut Rabbi for? He's a generous guy. But it's really his. So he put his fruit beyond the fence. So it's really his property, but he gave it to the Reshut Rabbi. So now the question is, so Gemara says, Mahazeret, we're going to say what? That's considered Hayav Mashehezika. But Makseh Makom Reshut Rabbi, Petura. Why Petura? Because now it's Reshut Rabbi. You gave it to us. Shmuel Amar, Afidu Makseh Makom Reshut Rabbi, Hayevet. No, it doesn't matter. It still belongs to the Nizak. So what's the mahloket over here? Let's get the case good about that. Basically, this guy's putting his fruit in front of his fence, and that front of his fence really is his property, but he allowed the Reshut Rabim to use it. One rabbi says Masechet, and one rabbi says Masechet is equal. So we want to understand the mahloket. But says Lema bebor b'reshtuto kamepligi. We have a din over here. If a guy dug a bore in his own reshut, the guy dug a bore in his own reshut, he can do whatever he wants. Can I dig a bore in my backyard?
Yeah.
Good luck to you. But what he did over here is, after he dug the bore in his reshut, he was mafkir his reshut. Mafkir reshuto velot the bore. As a minute now, we have an issue over here. It's a bore, but it's not considered in his reshut anymore. So the din is like this. So we have a mahlok on this. Rab the Amar Patur. Rab that says that if you give something to the reshut Rabim, meaning the fence, you pull your fence back and you gave it to the reshut Rabim, you put your perot over there. Kasabar bod b'reshuto hayav. He's going to hold that if you put a board in your reshut and you mafkir the reshut, you're going to be hayav for the damages. So similarly over here, what did you do over here? You gave the makom to the reshut Rabim, but you put a perot. What's a perot? Zebor. Why is a perot a board? Somebody can slip on it. Somebody can slip on it. So therefore, once you can put your perot, even though you were mafkir to the reshut Rabim, but you weren't mafkir the perot, as in the kla, ifkir reshuto velo ifkir boro. And if you hold that what hayav, so therefore that's why he's going to say if the animal ate it patur, because you have no right to put it over there. Which means if you hold it's considered a nezik of bone, you have no right to put it there. So if my animal comes and eats it, patur. Because אין לך רשות לשים את זה שמה. בגלל שזה נקרא, הבון שלך, אף על פי שהפקרת את הרשות, אם לא יהיו מפקיד רשות, זה בון. And therefore what? It's considered what? You put a kilkul. And we have a general rule that says, כל המקלקלים ברשות הרבים, חייבים. אתה מקלקל. However, Shmuel, the Amar Hayav, Shmuel says, no what? You're Hayav. Kasabar bod b'shuto patur. He'll hold that what? Since you will mafkir it, you're not Hayav in the board. So if I'm not Hayav in the board, it's not a mekalkel. Your animal that came along and ate this has to pay. We want to make the mahloket between them and sure the mahloket by a board, a shefkiro. Rab says no. Le'olam emalach. Turn the page. Be'alma bod b'rishuto patur. I can tell you really a board b'rishuto is patur, and really he's allowed to leave the board, then he's off the hook. But over here he's going to be hayav. Shani hakam. But over here, I still say hayav. Why? I'm sorry. Over here, I'm going to say what? He's going to be patur. Amar. Lav kol kiminak te mekarbatnu leperotecha leshut rabim or mechayev l'torai. Which means you put your perot next to the Shut Rabim and you entice my animal.
Stumbling block.
Exactly. Which means even though generally speaking, we're going to say what? That if a guy is mafkid his board in the area over there, he's patur. So if he's patur, so therefore why should he have to pay for the for when the animal ate it? I'm allowed to keep it there. No, the guy could say, listen, you can't put your perot next to the Shut Rabim like that and cause my animal to eat it, and therefore you want me to pay? You're machil. And therefore, even though he's allowed to keep it there, he has to. He's not going to get paid. He's not going to get paid when the animal eats it, because the owner of the animal can say, "Listen, you put them too close to Shut Rabim. And Shmuel can say, really, I say board b'reshut is chayav. So board b'reshut is chayav lechaura. The guy, the animal should not have to pay because you shouldn't have put it there. But here he's going to say he has to pay. Why? In the case of the board, we can say the animal doesn't know to watch himself, and therefore, when it fell into the board, is going to be chayav. Which means if the animal fell into the board, I understand why the owner is going to be hayav of the board, because you'd say the animal didn't see it. But you're going to say the animal didn't see the perot? He saw the perot and he ate them. So they were one thing to do with the other. So they were, even though the gabe bor, you could say hayab, means the owner of the bor will be hayab, because you could say he didn't. The animal doesn't see it, so therefore it's your responsibility. But he cannot come along and say, "Oh, he didn't see the perot." Well, he didn't see the perot. He ate all of them. He ate them blindly. He ate them because he saw them. So therefore, that's why it's going to be hayab. Lema mahazeret tanaei. Let us say that the steen of mahazeret is machloket tanaim. The Tanya, remember bright. Achla mitoch harhaba. Rabotai, if you ate in the middle of the street, what's the deen? Mishalem et ma shenehe. Azak baruch. Ma shenehe. Mitzidei harhaba. Mishalem et ma shehezika. The letter B meir. Okay, that's the regular. That's our Mishnah, by the way. ורבי יהודה ורבי יוסף ויעזר אומרים אין דרכה לאכול אלא להלך. What does that mean? Which is, it's not the derech to eat while walking. What does that mean? Now, Rabbi Yosef is not talking about eating in the middle of the street. Everybody says in the middle of the street is patur. He must be talking about the tzideh. And he's saying, well, it's not the derech. That's what Tanna Kamma said, it's not the derech. Didn't Tanna Kamma say on the side, it's not the, that's why it pays mashin henit? So what is Rabbi Yosef saying? It's not the derech to go on the side. What did Rabbi Meir say? Rabbi Meir said, if it eats on the side of the road, mashin henit. Why? Because not the derech. The animal went away from its derech. Good. And what does Rabbi Yosef say? And derech to eat from the side. Zemashin Rabbi Meir amar. Gemara says, Rabbi Yosef hanu Tanna Kamma. Ilaika benayu, ma'azirika benayu. Tanna Kamma said mahazeret nami mishanem mashinenit. Rabbi Yosef said mashanem mashezika. The machloket is, it was mahazeret. Is mahazeret considered normal or not? So if you say it's not considered normal, then you're going to pay mashehezika. But if you're going to say it's not normal, so then the animal already is going to pay damages, which means full damage. Exactly, the damage you have to pay because you went into the shul that exactly. You're going to have to pay full damage. Exactly. So again, the mahlok which you do rabbis is mahazeret normal or not? If you consider the animal normal is mahazeret, so what do you want for the animal? It's normal for it. It's just like it's normal for the shul that is normal to stick his head and go into the other. Therefore, you pay mashineni. If you say it's not normal, then already the animal went into somebody's property, and if he has to pay full damages, no. Everybody holds like one of the other two rabbis. Either it's hayab or not the ma'azer. What does it mean when it says ubi'ed b'stei acher? Let's go slow. By Shem, ma katuv batpasuk, ubi'ed b'stei acher. Ma perush, and 8 b'stei acher. Who's stei acher? The sedeh of the nizak. Correct? But it's coming to exclude somebody else. B'stei shel nizak, avalo sdei shel. So Yomara says, it's coming to exclude the Shut Rabim. So we have two ways of learning what's the ahed is coming to exclude. Everybody bistahaz the nizak. Matai shen hayav b'shut ani zak. Okay, but it says bistahaz la'apuke what? So one rabbi says la'apuke is shoot harabim. And rabbi says no. La'apuke is shoot hamazik. Well, obviously, if the animal goes, if the animal goes into the reshut and the mazik and eats his fruit, what do you want from what do you want from that? Which means what's in reshut and mazik?
The owner of the cow.
Exactly.
Within his own.
Exactly. But you brought your fruit into the mazik's property.
Yeah. Property.
You brought your fruit into the mazik's property, and the mazik's animal ate your fruit. What do you want? You want me to pay? And then what did you bring your fruit to my property for? No, but your animal ate it. So that's what it's coming to. So the machlok between even to be Yosef is how to learn the pasuk. Let's read again. More sabar. One of the rabbis say, that's why if it ate into the chava, it doesn't pay. Only machineni. More sabar, no. Only in the Shut Mazik it doesn't pay, but in the Shut Rabim it pays full. That's the machloket. So the Gemara says, do I need a pasuk to come and exclude the Shut Mazik? The Savara. I need a pasuk to come and tell me that if you put your fruit in my backyard and my animal eats your fruit, I have to pay. I need a pasuk to come out. I need a pasuk to tell me that the Maseches patur. The pasuk. עוד פעם, אם אני לוקח פירות, אני שם את זה בחצר שלך, והחמור שלך אוכל את הפירות.
מי אשם?
ודאי שאתה פטור. אני צריך פסוק להגיד שאתה פטור, מי יחשוב על זה? זה רק בסדום, יחשוב על זה. זה גם רעשה, ברשות המזיק, the guy can say, למה פירות ברשותי, מה הבעיה? The guy can say, מה זה, פירות שלך, מה הבעיה? What did you bring your food in my backyard for? לא, יש גזרת כתוב, אני לא צריך גזרת כתוב, זה סברה פשוטה. אלא, דאילפה ורב הושעיה איקרא בניו. נפקא מינה, it's אילפה ורב הושעיה. Rabotai, you remember the case of Ilfa and Boshaya? Right, we had on Daf Kaf. What do we have on Daf Kaf?
Ate for the load on the back.
Azaku Baruch. We had the case over there where one animal is eating off the animal's back. Remember, all the kofet said is jumping. So in those cases over there, that's going to be more. Is eating off the animal's back going to be considered the shut hanizak or not? Okay, that's about look. That you could say that's what the argument. Look at Rashi. Rashi says. Even if it's eating off the back of somebody considered the shoot rabin, but the Yosilomar and the Kal of Shot Sabra al Habeta, Vegel was with the Echol, Ela Lech eat like the Ilfa, the Bio. So he holds like Ilfa and is Hayab. So Malok is when in the shoot rabin where it says Patur. The question is eating off the back considered shoot rabin or not? And that will say it's Malok be even a B, yo. Okay, you say it's fine. No problem. Okay, now we go to Botai to the next Mishnah. A Kelev Vagedi. Okay. Exactly. We get to different animals. Now the dog and the goat. Shekafsu Mirosh Agag. Okay. They jumped off the roof. Veshavru et kelim. And they broke kelim. Mishalim Nizik Shalem. Have to pay. Why? These animals jump. That's derech. That's not mishuneh. Animals jump. They don't jump off the roof suicide. They jump. Like a cat jumps off the roof, like a dog jumps off a little. So they jumped off the roof and they landed on kelim. Since that's considered regel, and that's a derech, you pay nizik shalem. Kelev shenatal harara. Rabotai, we had this case already. You had the dog that took a biscuit. And what did it do with the biscuit? And it went to somebody's field. It ate the biscuit. And then lit the gadish on fire. على حرام الشم نزك شلم او كان حرام يفتح بين نزك شلم تشين يعطي بسكت على قديش بالشلم حتسي نزك and the gadish we said حتسي نزك because that's going to be considered what like حتسي نزك سيرورot and of course it's not direct he put it on and the wind came and took it and blew it so therefore حتسي نزك on that over there. Beautiful. And we'll see further. We saw this case earlier. Okay. Okay. So the Gemara starts. The first case was what? It jumped off the roof. And it broke Keli. Tamad the kapsu. Well, of course they jumped. And flew. Let's say they fell off the roof. Patur. Why? Because it's not the derech for a dog to fall off the roof. And therefore the owners don't have to anticipate that. And even though they shouldn't have left their animal on the roof, but that come nikfos, v'lo nipol. Which means he got lucky, the owner. Which if the animal would have jumped off the roof, hayab. But it fell off. You have the camera. And it fell off the roof. Patur. Lama, zelo aderech. Alma, kasavat tehilato b'pshi'a b'sofo be'ones patur. Even though the owner's a posheya here, what'd you leave the animal on the roof for? Let's hit the pshi'a. Not pshi'a po. היה לו לשמור עליו. כן, לא קשור ועל הגג. אז אתה הפושע, אבל למזלך נפל. אז זה נקרא תחילת בפשיעה בסופו באונס. אז מה רואים פה? תחילתו בפשיעה בסופו באונס, פטור. תעניין המאחי, הכלב הגידי שקפסו לו שגג ושבנו את הכלים, משלם נזק שלם. נפלו פתולים. הניחה למען דמתי עד ובשעה, בסופו באורס פתול. למען אמר, היה מייקל למען, okay, good. If you hold Techilato b'Shava Sobe Onis Patur, I understand. But there's another rabbi that says Techilato b'Shava Sobe Onis Hayah. So therefore he should be Hayah. Why did it say Patur? כגון דמקלבי כלים לגבי כותל, דחיקצי בכפיסה לא נפסה עליי, ואפילו תחילתו בפשיעה לקה. Beautiful. We're talking about over here where the kelim are very close to the wall. And therefore, even if he would jump, it wouldn't damage. As הוא לא פושע פה. עוד פעם, he left his animal on the roof. פושע, אני לא פושע. Yeah, your animal might jump. שיקפוס. Where's the kelim? The kelim are against the wall. אז לכן הוא יקפוס, הוא לא ישבור את הכלים. אז זה לא נקרא תחילתו בפשיעה. הבנתם או לא? לא, אין reaction פה. אני לא... הנה, here's the wall. So you're putting the kelim over here. כן, אז כשאני שמתי את הגדי פה, ולא שמרתי אותו, אני לא פושע. מה זה, הוא יקפוס? שיקפוס. יקפוס שמה, לא ישבור את הכלים. אז לכן, זה לא נקרא תחילתו בפשיעה. הוא היה רשאי להשאיר אותו על הגג. הבנתם? לא, אוקיי, בוא נמק שוב. One more line about it. אמר רב צבי. בסדר, אמר, העמים שאפילו נפלו נמי חייב. וואו. לפעמים, even if it fell off the roof, חייב. אמר, שכחתה בכותל רעוע. Meaning the wall that you left the animal was a shaky wall. As there's a pishia. You let your animal stay on top of a wall that's a rickety wall. And what? It fell. You cannot come and say, hey, not my fault. Go to your fault. You put it on a wall, that shaky wall. בכותל רעוע. זה לא נקרא אונס. שמת את הכלב שלך על כותל רעוע. אז אתה ידעת שזה ייפול. מה זה? זה לא אקרובט, איך זה יעמוד. The Gemara says, Mainihu, why is that considered Bishia? Right? Oh, which means, and therefore what? You have to suspect that maybe some of the bricks are going to fall. When he's on the roof, some of the bricks are going to fall. Exactly, and therefore what? If some of the bricks fall, what happens?
That's going to bring the thing. Here he said the Maakeh is Ra'ua, not the Kotel, which makes more sense.
And that's the problem. Not that the animal is going to fall. No, you're worried that Hazak Baruch is going to cause the bricks to fall. So the Gemara says, if that's the case, sof, lo nafal arhe v'naful inu, which means the Masechet, the bricks didn't fall. Who fell? No. The animal. So therefore, it's back to Tchalav, which means the guy put him on the wall. You should have known that the bricks are going to fall. The bricks didn't fall. So if that's the case, we're back to the same mahloket. שמת את הכלב על הכותל. מה היית צריך לחשוש? שהבנים יפלו. לא, זה פושע. אבל מה קרה בסוף? לא נפלו. זה נבל, הכלב נבל, אז זה צריך לטוב בשביל באונס. אבל זה לא צריכה בכותל צר. The kotel was narrow. So forget about the bricks. Like I said, the animals are an acrobat, and then we have to choshesh that the animals going to fall because it was a very, very narrow wall. How can he walk? Exactly. It's not a tightrope.
He jumped from the roof to the wall.
He fell. So therefore, when it's a narrow, very narrow wall, then the owner is considered a posheya, even if the animal falls, because he has to anticipate that he's not able to balance himself on the walls. Ad kan, Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ואמן. Fantastic job.
הצנעים הולכים על החוט החשמל ולא נופלים.
אמר לי, בשרי, נגמר לי האנרגיה.
אוקיי, בסדר, אני עשיתי כל העבודה, אני עשיתי כל העבודה.
בזכותך אני חי.
אוקיי. מאוד.
Lama lo pleasure, Rabbi.
This is mine.
Let me just scoot in here.
You got it, got it. אוקיי, רבותיי, רפואה שלמה, בריא עולם, beautiful דף.
רבנו, אבל הסנאי, איך הוא סנאי? איפה הוא סנאי?
סנאי?
סקוורל.
אוקיי.
הם הולכים על חוטי חשמל,
לא.
לא נופלים.
מה זה לא כלב בגדי?
גם חתול גם הולך על חתול.
זה לא כלב בגדי.
אבל גם חתול הולך על חתול.
זה כלב בגדי, אנחנו אומרים, איפה הבאת את הסקוורל הזה? המשנה אומר כלב בגדי.
נגיע
אתה צודק, סקוורל לא. חתול לא.
עוד שתי שאלות.
לא, גם הם יכולים לשבור כלים.
כן, אבל בקוטי צער, הם יכולים ללכת בקוטי צער, אבל לא כלב, אף פעם לא הייתה כלב בקוטי צער. וראית, הוא נפל כמעט.
עוד שתי שאלות כאלה ואני מתעורר.
תתעורר עכשיו, יאללה. תתעורר.
לטלפון, לנחשוב בבוקר.
רק כשאני על וקיישן אני עושה את הזום.
זה פון,
אתה רוצה שנחזור לזום? זה היה רק בקובד עשינו את הזום.
רוצה לחזור לזום, בטח.
גם זום לטובה.
גם זום לטובה.
אבל תיכנס לשם, תיכנס. זומי. כל השיעורים.
לייב על הבוקר, אתה יודע, בדרך לעבודה.
שומע את זה גם בצ'אט.
אנחנו אומרים,
איזה צ'אט?
יש בצ'אט של הבית של הרב.
כן, כן. זכתי להם בלי יעקב.
תגיד לרב, יכניס לך בזה, כן. יש
בלי נדר, נעשה את זה בלי נדר.
את השיעור הזה של עכשיו, עם הטלפון, רק כשאתה נמצא מחוץ ל...
כן, מחוץ לעיר אני עושה.
over there, live. You giving one on one.
אבל אתה תגיד, you'll be up 5:30 in the morning.
אני מתפלם די מוקדם. 5:30 you do the שיעור before the תפילה?
We'll see, maybe. A lot of people ask for the Zoom.
Yeah, Rabbi, it's good.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, Rabbi, second. Huh?
Can you add me?
Yeah, give me send me the email. Send me the email. Rebotai, don't forget to leave. Sabat Simon.
כן, רבנו, היום בערב תביא פרשה? בעזרת השם.
אני נותן קודם ערבית.
יחד, נצחה בערבית קודם.
ערבית, אחר כך לדרשה.
בעזרת השם.
ואחרי זה אתה נשאר בלילה.
כן.
יאללה, עכשיו התעוררת עכשיו, עכשיו התעוררת. גם מה הפרש? ככה? עוד איזה צחוק כאילו זה? עוד נשיק לרב תראה שאתה מסתובב וכו'. תאכל משהו.
לא.
תאכל ביצים חרם.
זה ביצים, זה בבולת.
מה יש? תאכל ביצים, זה בריא.
לא אין זבי.
לא רוצה כבר. You got a heavy level today.
אז רגע, אני לא אוהב שתייה השבת? The reason I don't know how to run it. אתה שותה שבת או שאתה לא שותה?
דוד אלברט.
אלברט,
You are partners for one thing. Look at me. For this.
אתה רוצה שאני אבין?
For this.
משקה או what?
Yes. תגיד לו מה אתה מבין.
זה משקה בגדול זה.
כן?
קידוש. שבת. בבוקר של נץ. יאללה, 8:30.
אני לא יודע לראות מי זה עד מהם פה שעושה את זה, אני אגיד לו שיכניס אותך.
אני אומר לך. חצי מנהוג. שגע.
שב, בוא, שב, לא הייתי הרבה זמן. פתאום התעוררת עכשיו. טוב, בסדר.
למה לא הבאת לי את זה?
הוא כן בזוז מהארץ,
אתה לא צריך לריב איתם כל פעם, תביא לי את הכבוד, תביא לי את הכבוד. זה כולו או זה רק אחד?
לא, יש לי סט.
הבאת את כל הסט?
לא, מה פתאום, אני מבין מה שאני לומד.
אתה לא לומד את כל הדף?
כן, לומד את כל הדף.
למה לא הבאת?
אני לא מבין מה אתה מדבר, מה אתה מקשקש?
למה הבאת רק את זה?
מה?
לפה הבאת?
לפה, כן, מה אתה
חזרתי
רוצה?
הביתה, לא הבנתי. כמה זמן אתה הולך להיות פה?
יום שאני חוזר, יש לנו חתונה יום שלישי, יום רביעי יש לנו חתונה, מה אני אעשה? ואחרי זה?
אמרת לי, אתה הולך, בא, הולך, איך יכולים את זה?
אני קורא את זה מהארץ.
היום,
באמזון או בדברים...
תקשיב מה אני אומר לך. היום שמשון שלח פנים, יש דיל של שוט נסטייק, כל הש"ס.
של מה? שעת עושים פה.
כל הש"ס,
ושינתם?
כל הש"ס,
כן.
או הגדול, או הקטן, מה שאתה רוצה, $1,950. עכשיו, עזוב זה הרבה כסף, לא הרבה כסף. בשביל העסקה עצמה,
זה לא עסקה, זה הרבה כסף.
כמה זה עלה?
זה אני קניתי בארץ כל הסט. ובערך איזה 40 משהו.
ואתה יודע, זה חד פעמי.
אז חד פעמי.
אתה יודע למה מדפיסים את זה, זה on the go. זה חד פעמי, אחרי שאתה משאיר את זה, איפה שאתה לא משאיר גבולה.
לא, מה פתאום? מה פתאום? זה צריכים את זה בכיס כל הזמן. אתה נוסע ברכבת, באוטו.
on the go, זה מה שאני מסביר לך.
אבל לא משאירים את זה. הנה רבי מנסור. בוא נראה מי זה האדמין שלו.
מי שלו זה אדם.
לא יודע מי זה האדמין.
אדם עזר.
הנה אדם עזר. You want to text him?
מכיר אותו. לא.
לא, שישלח לו טקסט, שיגיד לו שיכניס אותי.
Here is number. לא.
הוא
הוא ישלח ממנו, הוא יתבלבל.
אתה צודק, אתה צודק.
This is number. Text this number directly now. His name is Adam. Tell him Adam. My name is so and so. Obviously my phone number. Please add me up to.
למה מרדכי לא נשאר? למה מרדכי לא נשאר?
לא יודע.
אתה בא בצהריים?
איך אני ארגיש? His name is Adam. איך אני ארגיש? בא לי בורקס פינה, טוב.
איפה?
בורקס סמי.
מאיפה? בורקס סמי עכשיו. איזה בודקה.
אף לא תגמור צהריים בערב ביחד.
מה זה? רוב לא עושה סמי.
זה סמי, מה סמי?
אבל מה, הוא עושה לך את זה?
יהודי בכלל.
מה?
יהודי ערבי. אני יודע. טוב.
לא למדנו בגמרא אתמול. סוס, אנמול, פרה, לא יודע מה, קרקרה מאחורה כביכול, ומאחורה עוד פרה, היא אוכלת מהקרקרה שלה. הזכרתי ביחד, עם העגלה וסוסים, ואחד היה אחרי השני והיה לו אוכל על העגלה. אבל הוא לא ידע את זה, לא הבין את זה. גם אני אגיד לילדים שלי לא הבינו.
אף אחד לא יבין.
הייתי יושב על העגלה מאחורה, עד הבית ספר כמעט אמרתי, ככה הוא חופק ולגר, והוא נוסע, איזה חיים, איזה חיים.
אז כמה זה עלה?
אם אני לא טועה, זה 50 ספרים, עלה לי, אם אני לא טועה, 700 משהו דולר, לארץ. הנה תתקשר אליהם, ותזמין, יש את האימייל שלהם ושל הכל.
כנס רגע, תראה כמה זה עולה, כנס לאתר.
איפה אתה? היינו להיכנס, הוא יודע להיכנס.
כנס לאתר.
איפה אתם מושכים?
אבל זה שיננתם.
הכי טוב, תאמין לי. למה? לא, יש את האצקול השני הזה, זה כל אחד, זה פה, דף ונגמר. דף ונגמר. ובאצקול, הכחולים האלה, כל אחד קבל 2 דפים, 3 דפים.
לא, גם בשיחה יש, הנה גם.
לא, זה רק פעמים, לא הרבה. אתה רואה דוגמה את זה? קח את הדף הזה עכשיו, קח אותו שמה, תראה איזה 2 דפים.
טוב, שיש לך פירושים, מה אתה רוצה? ניכנס רגע לאתר. הנה האתר. כנס רגע, אני לא יודע כמה. ושיננתם, טוב.
בוא נעשה הליכה.
אבל אתה רואה, יש לו hard cover. אתה רואה, יש לו גם hard cover.
כן, אבל זה לא נוח לי.
לא.
אני רוצה לצחוק את זה איתי באוטו, בכל שם.
הנה, אמרו לך. ברור, תמציתי, וכל לנקודה.
כן, זה מה שאני אומר לך.
אבל שם אתה אומר.
נכון. אבל אחי, יש לך שעות לשבת על זה?
לפעמים כן, לפעמים לא, ולפעמים אפילו תפסת נקודה אחת זמן.
אני לא. תן לי לא. אין לי שבגבורה שלי.
אה,
כמה זה עולה?
עכשיו, אתה רואה? 2,850 גדול, 1,790 בינוני,
אז כמה זה בדולרים?
800 שקל קטן.
אתה רואה, אמרתי לך. אמרתי לך 700.
יאללה, 1,800.
אמרתי לך 700.
6 כפול 600 דולר. 600
אז
דולר.
אני אמרתי 700. וזייבתי ב$100. או שחטתי אותה ב$100. אחד מהשתיים.
לא, אתה חושב.
אבל זה טוב.
I have like almost half of them.
נו, אז קודם.
So what are you gonna do?
לא, אבל זה כמה, זה גדול, זה בולקי, זה זה.
זה טראבלינג, זה עוד לגו.
אחי. ככה.
כן, זה עוד לגו. אבל את האמת, אני אגיד לך עוד לגו, אתה גם לא צריך את זה.
מה כן? אז נהיה היה נראה.
לא, אתה לא יודע?
לא.
פתח את הטלפון, תן לך מתנה.
מה?
פתח את הטלפון, אני אראה לך. זה תואר, זה תגיד לי, וואי,
מה?
זה פריה.
מה?
אתה לא יודע. פתח אינטרנט.
כן, קח, תעשה.
זהו, עכשיו שפתחת, אני אפתח.
אני אקרא את זה משם?
אתה יודע מה יש לך פה?
אני אקרא את זה משם, אתה אומר?
כן.
יש לך את... יש לך אצפול? יש לך אצפול בזה?
בוא תראה מה יש לך פה. אתה מת, אחי. איזה דף היום זה סימן?
כ"א.
א'. כן. תמיד.
זה מה שהוא עושה פה, זה שעשה זה.
לא, יש לו
הקומפיוטר
יש לו
שלו.
כזה תקנה. תסתכל, אתה לוחץ על זה. About this text. Table of content. Search this text. עזבו את כל זה. Translations. סיכום יש לך. הקדמה יש לך. זה פרק ב', כן? אז תחילת הפרק. סיכום פרק. הקדמה לפרק. הקדמה למסכת בבא קמא, על מה אתה מדבר? ואתה לוחץ על כל זה, חבל לך הזמן. עכשיו מפרשים. יעני, זה או מה שאתה לא רוצה. 6 מפרשים יכול להיות שיש לך פה. עכשיו אתה לוחץ על הפסוק, זה רק הפסוק. אתה לוחץ על הפסוק.
אז לא תגמור כל היום.
אתה טועה. בוא נסביר לך מה אתה עושה. רש"י, תוספות, ביאור ראובן, שטיינליץ. אני בוחר שטיינליץ. למה? שטיינליץ זה כאילו שיננתם, אני חושב, לא בטוח. אוקיי? שטיינליץ. פסוק ראשון, לחצת, מסביר לך. במה מדובר? אתה עולה הלאה, תראה, ראית נהיה כחול?
כן.
לבד הוא נותן לך שטיינליץ. זהו, גמרנו, זה על אוטופיילוט. זהו. עברת לפסוק הבא, אתה קורא את הפסוק הבא, אתה מקשיב מהרב אומר, הרב מנסור מדבר איתך, אתה אומר, כן, הנה הפסוק, שטיינליץ קטן.
איך נכנסת לזה? לא, אני נכנסת לזה, לא, תראה.
זה סיפור גדול להיכנס לתת.
כן, ולהתחיל לעבור כל שנייה וכל זה.
בכלל דין אני...
בגלל זה קונים את
זה היה
הספרים.
נכנס לנו.
ספריה.
מה?
ספריה, בוא נעשה, איך עושים את זה?
תחזור חזרה.
בוא נעשה לך את זה בוקמרק.
כן, בדיוק.
מה זה? פייבור. איפה זה בוקמרק? פייבור זה בוקמרק יעני? פייבור זה בוקמרק?
יכול להיות.
שווה אותי. לא, אני רוצה לראות בוקמרק. לא, בוקמרק, מה זה? מתאם לי. כן, אני ממוד לא ספר, אני לא נותן לי כלום. אני לא יודע איך עושים את זה, אני אף פעם עשיתי את זה.
תחזור אחורה. איפה היית? לא אחורה.
אל תדאג, זה בחלון אחר.
אתה שם את זה בפיידר.
תפתח
תפתח את הפיידר.
די נגמרה.
אז
זה לא זה.
אולי אני רוצה לבדוק מרפות.
זה קוקס, זה מה קשור לזה. אני לא יודע איפה זה. בוא נפתח עוד הפעם, אולי עכשיו זה נראה. מי יודע. כן, אבל הנה, בקיצור, והשאלה שלך,
נמצא פה.
לא רק זה, ספריה, ספרייה, אבל נדבר ספרייה באשכנזית, ספרייה, ספריה. עכשיו, אל תיכנס לספריה, תחפש שם, תכתוב ספריה, ואת הדף שאתה רוצה ללמוד, זה ייקח אותך ישר. הבנת? תחסוך את כל אל תיכנס יאללה לתוך הספרייה שתגיד איזה ספר אני מוציא. תשים ישר מה אתה מחפש, זה חסר. עכשיו תעשה לו ככה. אני לא מבין למה הוא עושה חפר, אני לא יודע איך עושים את זה.
לא, אני לא יודע, אתה בא בצהריים?
יש.
אני אומר, 2:30, אני יודע.
נגיד לך את האמת. שהוא מדבר, אחי, צריך להגיד כבוד.
מי?
הוא צועק. לא, הוא יין. כשהוא הרב מדבר,
איזה?
הוא לא בא בשתיים.
לא, הוא בא בשעה 5:30.
כן, 5:20. הרב השני, הרב,
עכשיו בכנסת.
כן,
לא.
הוא מדבר, אתה יודע להגיד לך את האמת.
תעשי איתו. אתה חולם יעני.
אבל אני לא יכול לומר שום דבר, הוא עושה לי כבר בראש. הוא צועק, אני לא יכול לשמוע את זה. לא יכול. אתה מבין? לא שהוא לא בסדר.
לא, אני מבין.
לפעמים אתה יודע, אני... יום ראשון, בדרך כלל, אני לא בארץ. אני עם האישה, בלילה, אז אני שומע את את השיעור, את ההלכה. אתה יודע, אני מנמיך את הטלפון עד הסוף.
תבלבי אחד הזאת ושואלת להכל.
מה אתה אומר? אתה מבין מה אני אעשה להגיד לך?
מה אני אעשה? מה אתה עושה בבית?
אני תלוי איך אני ארגיש גם. אני לא מקנה.
באמת אני גם.
le damos quinzo, pentolila, lima de la pinta, huevo, con dientes. Y un. Claro, se quedan bien súper. Claro, pues aquí cada uno anda en súper.
Well,